So what we need to do, in this case, we need to go to the banking tab, okay, because what we're going to do is spend money. Since we're in banking and we're going to pay an expense or spend money, it's, I think, self-explanatory. We click on spend money button, okay, and just confirm that we're paying from this account. That is correct. You'll notice now the balance showing is $25,000. That's correct. And we're going to choose the card for that employee we set up. Excellent. Click use. Now, if we were paying with check, we'd put in the check number, but I'm just going to put in a notification of EFT to show that we've paid electronically. Okay. The amount we're going to pay here, this employee, is $800. That's fine for the memo. And now what we need to do is choose the correct account, expense account, so that the money that we're paying here is allocated to the correct account. So click on this drop down, and it is an expense. It might be smart enough to take us to the expense session. We just need to find the most accurate account here. So I'm sure there's maybe a wages or something, a salary. There we go. So a wages account, choose that. Now we're actually only going to, even though the customer has worked and earned $800, they've actually only been paid $500. Okay, the rest is going to be tax. Okay, so again, choose the drop down, and we're going to have to find a maybe some sort of tax withholding account. Here we go. Those of you that have worked will be aware that even though you may earn $800 in that week, you don't actually get paid that. You know, there may be a 30 or 35 or 42, depending upon your tax rate, percent that actually gets paid to the ATO. And that's done on, the business does that on your behalf, collects the money and then pays that to the ATO. So we have to represent that here. So we're going to choose this PAYG withholding payable account, and we're going to allocate $300. Okay, so you'll notice now that even though the amount is $800, we're allocating $500 to the wages account and $300 to the accounts payable, which ends up being a total amount of $800. And as always, just check there's nothing out of balance. If there is, it's usually a typo. Okay, so just double check. If we're happy with that, we would click record. In this case though, we're going to set this up as a reoccurring transaction. Okay, this could be important for the exam. You could imagine, you know, if we're going to pay this this employee every week, we're not going to want to manually go in and do this every time. So we're going to save this as a reoccurring transaction. So click on Save as Reoccurring. We can put in a name for this transaction. I'm just going to call it Weekly Wages. What is the frequency? There's a few options here. We're just going to choose weekly. We're going to choose the first option, continue indefinitely. However, if it was a contractor, for example, we could choose the second one and put in a date when the contract ends, but we're not doing that. We can set up alerts or reminders, or we can get the transaction to be performed automatically. Okay, so we're going to choose that second option, and we can either get MYOB to apply the next check number in the sequence, but as we're paying EFT, let's choose the second one, which allows duplicates, and we're just going to always pay this customer via, or this employee I should say, by EFT. Once we're happy with that, click Save, and then record. So that's now saved that transaction and also saved it as a weekly reoccurring event for us. Click Cancel. The last thing we're going to show is how to record a journal entry. So, in my opinion, this is probably the most difficult part. So we'll see how we go. I hope you all understand. So let's click on Accounts, and we want to choose this option here called Record Journal Entry. So we've got a couple of options here. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that ABC Company, the company that owns this company file, has just had an opportunity to purchase or acquire a new business. Okay, so maybe one of their competitors is going out of business, and they've been given a good deal to maybe take over their customers, maybe buy some of their stock and so on. and that's probably the best reason to record a journal. So a journal would be used when there's maybe a purchase or money or a transaction taking place, and it's not, it doesn't get allocated through purchases. You're not purchasing equipment from your supplier or stock from your supplier, and you're not performing a sale or a transaction to your customers. So let's go ahead and do this. So memo, we're just going to put in something meaningful. So we'll say purchase of XYZ company. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to choose the account, or the accounts that are appropriate for this. So we're going to choose this this drop down, and we're going to find equipment at stock or something like that. Store equipment at cost. There we go. And let's pretend that we've bought $10,000 worth of stock from this business that that is closing down. Put in a memo. We'll put in purchase of equipment at fair value. And we're also going to maybe get some of their inventory. Okay, so scroll down and find the inventory account. Let's pretend we've got $10,000 of inventory. And just put in a similar memo, but maybe put in inventory in this tab here. What we're now going to do is choose an extra account that's probably maybe used for goodwill. So now I guess it needs some explanation. So this business has $10,000 worth of stock or store equipment and $10,000 worth of inventory. However, we believe that the purchase of this store is actually valued at $30,000 to be fair. And so therefore, since the value of the assets themselves are only worth $20,000, we have to allocate $10,000 to a goodwill account. And this goodwill is basically anything over and above the cost of the assets that you're purchasing for the business. Okay, so the account we're going to use is other prepayments for goodwill. And let's say it's $10,000 as well. And we'll put in a note that this is actually for goodwill. The last option here is going to be a liability account. Okay, and this is an account that we've used to allocate for payments to the business, okay, or to the business XYZ. So now I don't think we'll actually have an appropriate account, okay, called maybe payments to this company. So let's just see if there's maybe something appropriate. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to choose other current liabilities for the moment, okay? And we're going to put in $30,000. And what we're going to put in here is a note just to make sure we know what's going on. So we'll call this payment to XYZ company, okay? So what you'll notice here is that we've allocated $10,000 to store equipment, inventory, and goodwill, okay? And then we have to balance the equation with the actual money that is coming out of the business. So we're going to be crediting an account, or the current liabilities account, which will be for a payment to the XYZ company. And when we actually perform that transaction, this will be debited $30,000 and our bank account will be debited $30,000 at the same time. So once we're happy with that, click record. And that's it. Now, if we want to go ahead and see all the transactions that have taken place, if we go into the banking tab, click on bank register, you'll see here that the transactions that have taken place is that one payment, okay, for $800. And if we go back into our accounts list, you'll notice that there is some money allocated to other accounts. So we've actually got less money in our bank account. However, we've actually got now extra inventory. We have some extra equipment. And we've actually got some money sitting in our liabilities account, which means we owe some people money as well. There's the 300 for the tax man, and there's the 30,000 we owe to the to that business XYZ. So I hope that's helped you out. I've tried to combine chapters 3 and 4 together, and just focus on all the important, I guess, parts of the chapter. We haven't covered everything, so just be aware that you may need to, or you will need to go through the book. Just use this as a bit of a guideline. If you've got any questions, please send me an email before the exam next week. All right, have a good day.